Grey skies are going to clear up. Put on a happy face, people, wherever you are watching in the world. Come on in to the One Play Sports eSports Spectrum for the next hour. We are going to entertain you. Don't let COVID-19 get you down. The man to my right and myself have got you covered. And who is that man to my right? I hear you say, well, where have you been for the last 2 months? Under a rock? He is the godfather of gaming, the man that put the E into esports, the notorious Nitin Nambiar. And tonight it's a question of now, every night he wears a T-shirt that's got a symbolic significance. What is the symbolic significance of your T-shirt tonight, Mr. Nambiar?
Tonight, I'm hoping, I don't know if you can see it, I'll take a step forward. I'm hoping Singapore is the great white shark and Philippines is the human swimming above. That's what I'm hoping for, but you know, you can be surprised.
I think we've got lots of Filipinos tuning into the One Play Sports Network tonight that hope that Nitin have got it badly wrong. Now, if you are new to this 11 p.m. slot on the One Play Sports Network with you 6 times a week, remember, every night bar Monday. Night off for us tomorrow. Hey!
Yes!
Welcome to match night 3 in the One Play Sports C Nations Cup. Here is what it's all about. We've drawn 2 groups of 4. Group A have already played their first round of fixtures. We'll come to that in a minute. The 8 C nations you see listed there: Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Myanmar, Vietnam, Brunei and the Philippines. We started last Wednesday. We're with you every Wednesday, Friday and Sunday with this tournament at 11 p.m. Singapore time. That's GMT +8. Every single game has got one thing in common, Nitin. And what is that one thing in common that it's got?
It's live and exclusive on One Play Sports.
We've done that in every show and still you have to think about it. Group A was drawn by Nitin and our main man, Youssef. Shout out to the VPG Massive Virtual Pro Gaming, Thailand, Malaysia, Brunei, Vietnam. In Group B, which is where we focus our attentions tonight, Singapore and Indonesia are the seeds, Philippines and Myanmar hoping to upset the apple cart a bit like Brunei did in our opening round of games in Group A. You can see Brunei beaten at home, but they managed to win in Vietnam. And it doesn't take a brain surgeon to work out that all 4 teams in Group A are locked together after the first round of fixtures on 3 points. Vietnam are top of the group by virtue of goal difference. Tonight we turn our attention though to Group B. Here is the fixture schedule. Singapore, Philippines tonight, Indonesia, Myanmar Wednesday, Thailand, Brunei on Friday, Malaysia, Vietnam the following Sunday. Moving on, take note, we do have a break for Hari Raya. It is Ramadan Mubarak to all our Muslim friends. Philippines and Myanmar is on the 20th. Singapore, Indonesia is the first game back after the break. Thailand, Vietnam promises to be an absolute cracker on the 29th. Malaysia, Brunei on Sunday the 31st. And we dip our toe into June for the end of the group stages where Indonesia take on the Philippines and Singapore take on Myanmar before we move with the top 2 in each group going through, Nitin, to the semi-finals. And as Group A's proven, none of the big teams can take anything for granted. It's going to be tough to guarantee your spot in the Final 4 and have a chance at getting that $2,500.
Yeah, based on Group A, we're in for a really thrilling ride here in Group B. 4 teams with lots of quality, starting off with Singapore and Philippines. So both teams will be looking to kick off with a good start.
All to play for, as I always do, in my back pocket. Unfortunately, not a load of $50 notes, but I do have my phone, and we want to hear from you. This is all about creating a community. We are creating a community and building heroes here at the One Play Sports Network, and it's all about LSFC. What is LSFC, I hear you say? Nitin, tell them.
Like, share, follow and comment on the One Play Sports page. We're bringing you the best esports has to offer during this COVID time. So do like, share, follow and comment, please.
Big shout outs coming for everyone watching online. Hidyat Shikin is with us. We've got Aidan Kasim, Shari Ayob, Fazil Kasim is there as well. We've got our friends at Ultras Pro Esports on the line. Mohammed Noor Adil Hu Wei Fang is with us. Lots of you having your say. Shout outs to everyone who's watching right now on the Facebook page. Now, if you want to book an advanced shout out, someone's birthday, if you want to enter our national anthem competition, which I'll come to in a minute, the email address is on the bottom of your screen now, studio@oneplaysports.com. Now, it's not just about the One Play Sports C Nations Cup. If you've been with us right from the start, you'll know that esports arrived on One Play Sports with a bang, and that bang was provided courtesy of the One Play Pro Club Challenge, which has reached the round of 16 stage. Yesterday, a great performance by Larojak saw off the To The Moon boys of Thailand, who will go through on Tuesday night in a big one. Singapore against Vietnam, ones to watch, and Royal Cavaliers. You can join us for that Tuesday, 11 p.m. That's GMT +8. Now, obviously, the great thing about Pro Club Nitin, isn't it, that we've got 11 gamers on each team. So it really is 11 versus 11. It's as close as you can get to the real thing in football at the moment with this COVID-19 situation.
Yeah, it's as close as you get. You've got 11 players sometimes from different nationalities. In this tournament, I know we've got 11 players from the same countries, but it can also be a case of 11 players from around the world. So it's a great opportunity to meet and connect with new people online.
Now, not just about the gamers as well. We know during this tough time you're relying on One Play Sports to bring you some great content and entertain you every night, even if you're not a gamer. And listen, I couldn't play FIFA to save my life, but I want to be part of the fun and games.
It's true.
You're right there.
It's true, yeah.
You could be too, because your country knitting needs
you.
If you want to have a go at singing your national anthem, you can star in our One Play Sports C Nations Cup pre-shows. And I can give you a sneak preview that we've got 2 fully fledged football internationals singing the anthems tonight. It doesn't matter if it's your kids, your friends, your family, get together, film yourself singing the anthem in landscape mode on your phone. You can WhatsApp it to +65 9721 7756 or email it to studio@oneplaysports.com. Now, let's get stuck into tonight's action with the time coming up to 11:05 Singapore time. 2 games for you tonight involving Singapore and the Philippines. First up, we go to the Sports Hub of Singapore for Singapore against the Philippines. We're kicking that one off very shortly. Then around about 11:30, it'll be the return fixture at the Panad Stadium in the Philippines and Singapore. Nitin is now going to guide you through the team news, and big team news when it comes to the goalkeeping situation for the Philippines. Nitin, they are going with a bot, but as we've already seen in our esports so far in the last couple of months, a bot sometimes can come good for you. They'll start as underdogs though.
Yeah, definitely. You know, they're coming up against the seeded side, so Philippines will start the game as the underdogs. Onto the formations, Singapore are playing a 4-5-1 formation. We've seen players like Derek Lim, Derek Lim, Fahmi, Hisham, Nazri. All these guys have taken part in the One Play Pro Club Challenge, so we're familiar with them. We're hoping they do good things today. With regards to the Philippines, I'm not sure there have been some changes to the formations at the last minute. I'm not sure they're either playing a 4-2-2-2 or 4-1-2-1-2 narrow, which is a very offensive formation. These guys are going with 2 strikers up top, so they're very confident in their attack.
Breaking news on that, Sweaty Nino is out. Connection problems. Reg will come into the lineup for Sweaty Nino. So the Philippines beset by problems. If you were with us for our preview at 10 o'clock, you'll see that OJ Porteria was having connection problems. He'll hope that doesn't affect him. And the key thing about those lineups, as I mentioned, 2 fully fledged football internationals. We've got Shamir Aziq starting a striker for Singapore, and he has 2 Singapore caps in the real game of football to his name. And I tell you something, I've seen a lot of OJ Porteria play both for Ceres, Negros and the Philippines international team, and he is a proper player. Now, the team news that Nitin's just given you already attracting controversy. Iswan is with us. Who was this complaining about one of the team selections I saw? Wesley Ho, by the way, talking about Derek Lim in goal for Singapore. We've already seen in the Pro Club Challenge how good he can be. We've got Ocelot saying player legend Ang Pang is an all-star. Hi Furman says Iswan Khalik. Now, Shalin Su says Don Midon not selected. That might be a question mark over the Filipino team selection. Now, wherever you are watching around the world, we at One Play Sports are all about bringing you together. And of course, the ASEAN nations at times like this, when we're all suffering, should all come together as one. Not just an ASEAN community, but a national community. And to that end, for the millions watching around the world, whatever you're doing, of course, our 22 players as well, please be upstanding for the national anthems, and we will start with Majula Singapura, sung by Singapore international and player tonight, Shamir Aziq.
Let's go, Singapore!
Oh, the chills are starting to fly here in the studio. Did that give you some chills down the back of your spine?
Yeah, always. The national anthem always brings back lots of good memories, especially sporting memories. So hopefully we can create another good memory today.
Many thanks to Shamir for giving us that rendition of the national anthem. Remember, you'll see him playing up front for Singapore tonight in the FIFA Pro Club sphere. Now we cross live to the Philippines, and what a player this man is, both on the pitch and on the PlayStation. It's Filipino international and an integral part of the Ceres Negros team, OJ Porteria, singing Lupang Hinirang.
Ayang magiliw, pelas ng silanganan, alab ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisiil, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bughaw. May dilagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal, ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning. Ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng walhati pagsinta, buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pag may mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Hey! That is what it's all about. And a couple of things about that. Not only is OJ Porteria a real kind of guy who's got the cutest dog in the world, and I'll tell you something, I know you like your trainers, your sneakers.
Yeah.
You like to borrow some of his sneakers. What a collection he's got.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's earning good money and he's got a good sense of style. Also, just want to say, I was in the Philippines for the SEA Games. Beautiful country, beautiful people. So, all the best for this competition.
Yeah, I know when Nitin starts to be nice, it means he's about to say something nasty, because I'm about to ask him for his prediction. Score in both games. We head to the Sports Hub of Singapore first, then the Panad Stadium in the Philippines. Give me the scores for both games.
First game, 3-1 to Singapore. Second game, 1-0 to Singapore.
Okay, so you think they'll keep it tight, the Philippines, but you think they'll come away empty-handed. Mohamed Norazami Otek is there, cheering on the Philippines. Larojak Football, one of our teams in the Pro Club Challenge. Good luck, Singapore. We've got Daniel Fitri Yap there on board. Don Midon on board with the Philippines. Hashtag Arif is another regular viewer. Great to see so many of you on board here. Nick Paul is with us. Evan Martin Martinez Marcado watching from the Philippines. Big numbers watching tonight. Big shout out to Arlene Ardi as well. Keep the comments coming on the Facebook page. I'll keep an eye on it all the way through the game and give shout-outs when necessary. Now, it's about this time every night, I go to my earpiece and say, Yusuf, mirror, mirror on the wall, are we ready for a Pro Cup tournament to end it all? Not quite yet. So that gives us a chance to muse a little bit about Group B with Singapore, the Philippines, and we cannot forget about Myanmar and Indonesia. We call Group A the group of death, but Group B could prove tricky as well, because as we saw in the first two round of games, any slip can be costly.
Yeah, but especially in tournaments like this, any mistake could be costly, as you said. So you're looking at three teams, one country we're familiar with, Singapore. They've got a huge representation in the One Play Pro Club Challenge. For the other three teams, they're a bit of unknown quantities to us, and as far as I know, unknown quantities are dangerous, and Brunei proved it that day, so you never know what you're going to get.
How many times in the real game of football have we seen Singapore expected to brush teams aside and come unstuck? Are the Philippines national team going to do it in the FIFA 20 arena? We're about to find out as we cross live to the Sports Hub in Singapore for the Group B encounter between Singapore and the Philippines. You're watching live on One Play Sports.
Good luck, guys.
So as we get that final screen that denotes the game is almost good to start. It looks like Loftus Road doubling up as the Singapore Sports Hub. Singapore in the red, playing from left to right. The Philippines in the white with blue trim, playing from right to left. And an early chance for Zayn. Philippines. Oh, they've given it away. And Shamir Aziq very nearly creating an opportunity early on, Nitin.
Yep, already a positive start from Singapore. It's good to see, but we'll see. It's very early on.
First touch for OJ Porteria, who is so good with the national anthem. We know he's got skills to pay the bills on grass. Has he got skills to pay the bills on the PlayStation? Now inside, Singapore creating some space. Looking for the ball through there. Was Din. Didn't quite happen for him. And now going long of the Philippines. Just struggling really to retain possession. And here's Nazrul looking for an option out on the wide side. Galactic
chance
gets it.
here.
Shamir sets one
Yes,
up. And Singapore
sir.
take the early lead. And it'll be Shamir Aziq with the assist. And look at the celebration from Shamir, by the way. And that was just for an assist. What a finish that is. Singapore breaking the deadlock early. Shamir will go down with the assist. And Anaki will go down with the goal. Singapore make the breakthrough early, Nitin. That'll ease the nerves. 7.5 minutes in.
Yeah, they'll ease the nerves for Singapore, but they'll add nerves for the Philippine side, who haven't started very well defensively. It was a bit of a lucky chance created. Philippines couldn't get the ball away. Shamir found his man, and it was a fantastic finish into the bottom left. So a well-deserved lead.
Shamir already being a really big influence in this game. And they're passing the ball around nicely. The assassin with the
2-0!
tackle. Shamir!
Yes,
Shamir! The man that's got 2 caps of the Singapore national team, currently on trial at Albrecht Negata in the Singapore Premier League, has made it 2-0 to the Lions inside 12 minutes. He talked a good talk when we interviewed him at 10 o'clock this evening, and Shamir is living up to his billing, Nitin. 1 assist and 1 goal. We've not played 13 minutes yet.
Yeah, but you could see when the way he was representing himself during the national anthem, he's taking a lot of pride in this, and he started the game fantastically. A goal and an assist in 13 minutes of play. Superb stuff.
He could be in again here. Din to Shamir. Edge of the area, Shamir. All the tricks in the world at the moment. Here's an on. Out to that far side. Look at the space for the Demon. And the Philippines are scrambling here. Could be a long night for them. Nasri. Singapore look a class apart early on, Nitin. And are they onside here? Yes, they are. Cross comes in. And Lachet will try and clear it. But the Philippines just struggling to get any kind of foothold, Nitin.
Yeah, they are really struggling to get the ball out of their half at the moment. The Singapore team is pressing really well. So credit to the Singapore side for putting the pressure on the Filipinos. But they've got to do better defensively and offensively. They haven't created much, and Singapore have created a lot.
Oh, that was risky play from Mick Mouse.
Again, the Filipinos are playing a really high line, and in my opinion, that's a sign of a team that's very inexperienced.
Here's Nero Hero. This is better from the Philippines, but Lachet is dispossessed brilliantly by Lili Fee. And Singapore will get the free kick. Shout-outs on the Facebook comments page. Siti Fazia says, go Singapore. Mariam Al-Hussein is cheering on the Philippines. Mohamed Nurazami Otek is cheering on the Philippines as well. Saluk says, power Singapore. Yang Shan Lim is with us. Daniel Fitri Yap as well.
One more chance.
As Singapore boss this game. Shamir's in again here. He almost was tackled by his own player there. And Philippines all over the show, giving away the first corner.
Yeah, Philippines look like a real mess at the back, and Shamir looks like he's going to exploit that today. So unlucky there, banged into his teammate.
The corner going to be taken by Hishan of VPG, who's also, as you see from his icon there, the manager of the Queen's Park Rangers team for VPG in Asia. Hishan, we've seen him in the One Play Pro Club Challenge. The corner is a strange one, and Mick Mouse can get it away.
Yeah, Hisham normally plays as a cam, I believe, so he's playing a more defensive role today for his country, and I hope he does well.
Here's Lili Fee. Nazirul. Oh, Nazirul pressured by the Philippines. And we've hardly seen Derek Lim in goal for Singapore. We haven't seen him touch the ball yet, Nitin, have we?
I don't think we'll see him in action soon. The Filipinos are chasing shadows at the moment.
Incredibly, the Singapore possession only 55 to 45. That's going to go up, you feel. Lovely work from Zam. Zam inside, looks for Shamir in the middle, gets the ball across. And the Philippines just managed to get a deflection, but it's all hands on defensive deck for the Philippines at the moment.
Yeah, they need to find a way to soak up this pressure better. Philippines at the moment, they seem like a side that's lost, and they just need to regain a bit of shape.
Oh, Shamir's robbed it again. Shamir got one man to beat, looks up, unselfishly passes it. And Mick Mouse with some very last-ditch defending. Vignesh Babu is with us. Prasnath Muralitharan. We've got Michael Hobangdion of the Philippines as well. Great to have you with us. H&S.
Oh, what a ball!
Pass it through to Shamir. He's got his second. Singapore at their third. And this is turning into a rout.
Oh, he's shushing.
The Lions of Singapore now lead by 3. 33 minutes gone. SG 3. Phil 0.
Yeah, Shamir is in excellent and really confident mood today. Fantastic finish. Great movement again, and topped it all off with a little shush at the end to the Filipino fans. And they may not really like that, but if I was Shamir, I'd do the same. His side is totally on top at this moment.
Here's Din. Oh, they're all over them here. This could be a cricket score. If this was the boxing contest,
Shamir!
Stop. Is this the first half? Oh, Shamir with a hat-trick.
My God!
Inside 40 minutes. Shamir's got 3 plus 1 assist. Well, I tell you something, He can play football on grass quite well, but what about his FIFA skills? Joel Chu, who won the One Play Sports SPL Challenge, he might have a rival for the best SPL FIFA player in Singapore because Shamir is on fire, Nitin.
Yeah, you know, you were saying earlier he's on trials with Albirex to get a contract. If I was Albirex, based on this display alone, I'd sign him up as a striker. Fantastic stuff, showed good skills to beat his defender, and another powerful finish into the near post. He's got his hat-trick and 1 assist. Been involved in all 4 goals, has Shamir, so fantastic stuff from him.
Sweaty Nino, who's dropped back to playing goal after initially being down as the central defensive midfielder. They were down initially to have a bot in goal. Maybe they would have been better off with a bot. Not that the keeper could probably have done anything. Here's Nero Hero. This is the first time we've seen the Philippines in the final third. Here's OJ Porteria. Look at the scramble. The Singaporeans just seem to be that extra yard faster. If only the real Singapore national team could turn over teams like this. Latchit Clark.
Oh, Shamir, great reading of the play there. He's nicked the ball back. It's Zam now on the right. Zam's got a chance. And it's 5! What a finish! What a man!
Has made it 5-0, and this is now becoming embarrassing. Zam, the right striker for Singapore, makes it SG 5, Phil 0, and I'm running out of paper to write these goals down with. It's 2 for Aniki, 3 for Shamir. He goes by the name of Zam, but Aniki's got a brace. And Shamir's got 3. How many other goals are there to come in this? We've only played the first 45 virtual minutes, and it's all one-way traffic here. You have to almost feel for the Philippines at this stage. Lolo Fee. Passed inside. They can't get another one, can they? Oh, what a save. Sweaty Nino. Well, I would say, can't really say he's keeping it respectable. They've still got a corner to come here. What is Singapore going to be like at the set piece as their second corner of the first half, and it's a dangerous one.
He went for goal.
Sweaty Nino managed to gather, and that will bring about half-time, and it's a first half to forget for the Philippines. Singapore have been clinical, Nitin.
Singapore have been clinical. I don't think Derek Lim has been seen at all on screen. That's how dominant Singapore have been. Shamir, Aziq, fantastic stuff up front. He and Zam have a fantastic connection. 3 goals, 2 assists for Aziq. The 2 assists going to Zam, and those 2 guys have Singapore in cruise control here at 5-0.
Hazwan Haron says, our national team should be playing like this. Naja Hakim, ha ha ha, Sheikh Zafran. Shahir Nishran, stop, don't do them any harm. Next team, please. My oh my. They are really out in force. The Singaporeans making their voices heard. Come on, the Philippines, get on the Facebook comments page and get behind your team. The one incredible stat there is, well, I don't remember the Philippines having a shot on goal, and I certainly don't remember them having 49% possession, Nitin.
Yeah, it's again, these stats are not as accurate as they could be, and yeah, I don't remember them getting a shot as well.
Look at that, 5 goals, none of them from inside the 6-yard box, 1 from outside the area, 1 from the edge, and 3 inside. And they were all things of beauty. When we get to the highlights at the end of this game, Nitin, it's going to take about 5 minutes to go through all the goals, I think.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I mentioned earlier, I think before the second goal, that the Filipinos were defending very naively. They had a very high line, and that's not recommended in pro clubs against experienced opponents. And that they've been made to pay by Singapore, basically.
Couple of people requesting for Shamir's jersey and match ball after the game.
Oh,
They're in again for number 6, the assassin! Sweaty Nino does his job at the near post and palms it behind for the 3rd Singapore corner. The Sports Hub is rocking.
I can hear the Kalang roar at this point.
Oh! That was a snapshot to behold, just over the bar. Took a deflection, maybe even saved. It's another corner.
Man, Singapore are so on top. Philippines really need to figure things out, and they don't have much time to do that.
Keeper doesn't get there. How on earth is that not gone in? It's another corner.
It's just
my oh my. Can we get double digits
pressure
here, Nitin? This could be 10, couldn't it?
It could be, and I hope it isn't for the Filipinos' sake. I hope they keep things tight in the second half, try not to concede, because they'll give them some confidence going into the next fixture at their home.
You're watching live Group B action in the One Play Sports Nations Cup, live this Sunday night in Singapore. A warm welcome wherever you're watching around the world, and big numbers of you watching here tonight. HNS and on. Latchit Clark tries to get it away, but they just can't get any consistent possession of the Philippines. Now, the bot is playing. They've obviously lost some connections. There's a bot now who's ironically given the Philippines probably their best spell of possession. Jezza is dispossessed by the Flair demon, playing brilliantly at right back for Singapore, and the lines come again, Nitin.
Yeah, the whole Singapore team have been great. The defenders haven't had much to do, but in terms of the midfield and the attack, those guys are experienced.
Oh, look at this, over the top.
Shamir's got another chance.
Shamir for his 4th, off the crossbar,
unlucky.
Surely they can finish. No! The crossbar saves the Philippines.
Oh, again!
And again, this time Assassin, and then DN Secret over the bar. How on earth is it not 6?
Shame and Assassin were really unlucky there, both of them hitting the post. Shame showed great composure to manage to get the chip off in time and just a bit too much power there.
Shabin Michael says, maybe if we sent the Singapore Pro Club team to the World Cup qualifiers, we could qualify for the World Cup.
Yeah, Shabin, why don't you try and join the Singapore team, bro? I know you play a lot of pro clubs as well, so we'd love to see you involved.
He's Wavy Christian, Galactic. Poor old Philippines, they cannot live with Singapore at the moment. That's a foul surely on Sam Kekik. No, play on. Who's the call? And the Flair Demon will have to scramble. We've got just over half an hour virtually left in this One Play Pro Club event. The C Nations Cup on One Play Sports. And Singapore at the moment are dashing to the top of Group B. There's offside there. A rare missed time run.
Yeah, considering this team was probably just formed, the Singapore players have a really good connection. They must have been taking the time in the lead up to this tournament to figure each other's style of play out, and they've done a great job.
Well, you can say that the Filipinos are outmatched as Shamir's
the
got the
keeper.
goalkeeper going walkabout now. Shamir's
what a
found the ball. And
What a
there's
goal.
the finish. Shamir and the Assassin link up brilliantly after Sweaty Nino and the Filipino goal went walkabout. And it's now 6. The Assassin's got in on the fun and games now. Singapore in cruise control. Look at the celebrations. Goodness gracious me.
Shami, I've lost track of Shami actually. He's got 3 goals and 3 assists now,
No,
doesn't he?
Shamir 3 goals, 2 assists, I think.
No, he got assists for the third one as well. So he's assisted Zam twice and Assassins once.
Well, I've got him down as 2, but I mean, whatever he's doing, he's man of the match material. Straight off the back, the Philippines trying to get something going, but they should be able to run that out for a goal kick. Flair Demon, a rare mistake from him. What the Philippines can do here, Wavy Christian. Here's Red Grip. Through ball, chance for the Philippines, and for the first time, we see Derek Lim called into action.
He's a top keeper, is Derek. We've seen him in the Pro Club Challenge, and oh my God!
The keeper's had a nightmare. What on earth is happening to the Philippines? Shamir has got another, and it's 7. Well, Shamir has now got, has he got 4 or 5? I can't keep up.
4 goals and 3 assists for Shamir at this point. He's been involved in every goal Singapore has had to offer. The goalkeeper for Philippines has had a nightmare in the last 2 goals. The first goal, he came out and tried to close Shamir down for no reason. Second goal, he's come out for unnecessary long ball, and he's cost his team on goal difference, definitely.
What on earth are the Philippines going to do ahead of the second game at the Panad Stadium? They've got to try and salvage some pride here. Singapore are sending a message out to the other 7 ASEAN nations in this competition that they fancy winning this $2,500 prize pool. And who would bet against them at the moment? There'll be tougher tests to come. But the way they've torn apart this Filipino team means they're going to be playing with swagger. And Shamir's stolen it again. Look at the movement, the running. Here's Nazarul. Shamir, he wants 5 now, I think. Ball out to this left-hand side. The Assassin will look up and try and find Shamir. Just over 15 virtual minutes to play. Is Shamir going to get there? Sweaty Nino can't gather. And it's all hands to the pump again. Here's Din. Laid on to Shamir. Can he get the shot away? Shamir! Good save that time from Sweaty Nino after 2 horror mistakes. And look at that, Shamir, 7 shots on goal, 4 of them have scored.
Yeah, Shamir has been absolutely brilliant. That was a really good drag back that he did to beat his man.
He's in again, Shamir. Great cross, Shamir! Oh, what a chance that is for Adil Bakar. Over the bar. It could really be 10 already, Nitin.
How good is Shamir, though? He's been tearing.
Is he better than Joel Chu of Tampines Rovers?
It's hard to say,
We should set up an exhibition game.
We should. I think that's a good idea. And I think Joel will be open to that as well.
Now, I think Joel Chu is watching this. Joel, if you're watching this on Facebook, should we set this up?
Oh, Shamir again.
Taking this man on because Shamir's going to score again. Showboating that time. Din Sikri trying to be a bit audacious at the chip, and Sweaty Nino can gather. Joel, if you're watching, I'm sure you are, let us know. We'll set the challenge up. Shamir Aziq against Joel Chu. An exhibition game that I think would be worth watching in the one-on-one sphere.
Yeah, we should actually try and get Joel Chu involved in the Singapore Pro Club team as well. That'd be he'd be a
how
very
can he
good
get
addition.
into the team at the moment, Nitin?
He can. He's good. He's got a high level of
you
quality.
You can't change a team that's 7-0 up with 10 minutes to go.
That's true.
The Philippines now relying on the bot to keep possession. Is he onside? He is. There's another bot now. The Filipinos, I don't know, I'm going to be a little bit mischievous now and say they're all dropping off deliberately here, Nitin. Let's actually give the Philippines some mitigation because we interviewed OJ Porteria earlier and he had some severe connection problems. But can a performance like this really be mitigated by poor connection?
No, I think they've got their tactics all wrong. As you can see, they still have a high line and that's not helping them at all. It's very naive defending and they've got to learn to sit back deeper and try to hit teams on the counter-attack.
Assassin gets it back. And the Philippines now, I think, will just try and play out these last 4 virtual minutes without conceding again. It's the Magnificent 7 for Singapore.
It is the Magnificent 7, and it's been the Magnificent Shamir as well. 4 goals, 3 assists.
Got 2. Assassin's got 1. And Shamir has 4. He's been integral to everything Singapore have done coming forward. And if his form on the pitch is as good as his form on the PlayStation, Alberts Nagata should sign him up quickly. Here's Galactic.
You know, just some consolation for the Filipinos. They've only conceded 2 goals in the second half, so it's a lot better in the first half. But they will learn from this, and I hope they come back more defensively solid in the return leg.
Well, their player manager will have to make some serious changes for this next game. Are they going to concede again?
Oh my
full
God,
time.
Zam with his hat-trick.
Zam gets a hat-trick. 3 goals down to Aziq, 4 for Shamir, 1 to Assassin. And Singapore have stuffed Philippines for 8 goals tonight. And they've still got to play them again in a couple of moments in the Philippines. It's a nightmare for the Philippines.
Yeah, when was the last time you saw the Singapore national team score 8 goals in a game?
That's a very good question. If you know the answer, let us know on the Facebook comments page. Singapore have done a demolition job at the National Stadium at the Sports Hub on the Philippines, and they are rocketing to the top of Group B. Remember, Indonesia and Myanmar will meet in the other opening game in Group B. That's coming your way on Wednesday, but it's difficult, as Nitin's already said, to see what they can do in the second half. And look at the stats. They're a joke. The stats said that the Philippines had more possession than Singapore. Now talk us through these goals and the impact of Shamir Nitin.
Yeah, Shamir was excellent, not just playing as a striker. He played more as a number 10, like a Del Piero role. He got involved in assists here. He was assisting Zam for Zam's first goal, I believe. A fantastic finish from Zam.
There's a message here from Harry. He says, Zam, please sign my boobs. That's the kind of fan club that Zam has got after that.
Oh, this was Shamir's near post finish.
Oh,
a fantastic
exquisite.
left foot effort. Powered it past the keeper, no chance.
Some of these comments on the Facebook page, I can't broadcast them, but they are quite funny.
Shamir
It's a nightmare for the Philippines.
Shamir's got a really good power in his shots. He's got really good timing of his runs. He's a very intelligent player, both in real life and in the virtual game. So Singapore's got a real asset here.
Well, I mean, Shamir stole the show, but he was ably supported by Aziq and Assassin Nitin, wasn't he?
Yeah, definitely. I think the whole team played in a way where they gave the front four a chance to go out and enjoy themselves, and that's exactly what Zam, Shamir, Assassination and Hidup did.
Look at that chip, exquisite. Perfect positioning. Let's remember, Singapore hit the crossbar twice and had a couple of other opportunities they should probably have scored with from headers.
Yeah, definitely. You know, one thing I have to say that is fantastic about the Singapore team is they've got a really good attitude. You know, most teams when you're final up, you tend to feel sorry for the opponents and you don't go for the kill. These guys just wanted to, no, I won't say humiliate their opponents, but they wanted to show the rest of the teams what level they're at, and everyone will be keeping an eye on Singapore from here onwards.
Well, that was absolutely sensational. There's no question there'll be tougher tests to come for Singapore. Indonesia, for one, will be a very, very different kettle of fish. They've got Myanmar as well in their group. But for the Philippines, Sweaty Nino had an absolute nightmare there. And Shamir was never going to miss that kind of opportunity.
Yeah, that's just unacceptable by the keeper, though. You know, if I was the manager, I'd be having a word with the keeper. If he continues playing like that, he definitely warrants a drop.
Trouble you've got, though, Nitin, is, I mean, I don't think Sweaty Nino was initially down to playing goal. He was originally down as a central defensive midfielder. They were going to go with the bot. They changed their mind. Uncertainty in the team selection. There was one of their headers that could have made it even worse for the Philippines.
Yeah, then that's a bad call by the manager. He should have just gone with the bot, because the bot wouldn't have made mistakes like we saw Sweaty Nino make today. And that's not an attack on Sweaty Nino. He's just had a really bad game today.
Well, 8-0 to Singapore, and these highlights are going to run and run because the goals just kept on coming. I thought there was one more after that, wasn't there, in the final?
I think FIFA has a limit in terms of the number of goals they can show.
The Singapore national team have certainly breached that limit. Incidentally, our good friends at Park Cheek, they say the last time Singapore scored 8 was in the Malaysia Cup against Brunei, when Sundramoorthy scored a bicycle kick. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Do you remember them beating Brunei 8-0?
I remember the bicycle kick.
Yeah, it was 8-0 apparently then. Daniel was with us. So many of you getting involved. Talk about assassinations played, please, says Prasanath. Yeah, assassination. Shamir's got the headlines, but assassination did well as well.
Yeah, again, the front three were amazing. Zam, Shamir, Aziq and Assassination. All of them did their part. They really tore the Philippines midfield and defense to pieces. And all of them should deserve the credit. But again, the star has to be Shamir, who got 4 goals and 3 assists. So he was the best player.
Right, Singapore have knocked the Philippines for 8. How many will they knock them for? Or can the Philippines pull off what will be the shock of all time in e-sport history? In a couple of minutes when we head to the Penang Stadium for the second game. Stay with us here on One Play Sports. It's the Philippines against Singapore, the return clash coming up next.
Coming up on One Play Classic this week.
Welcome back live to the One Play Sports eSports Spectrum, this magnificent arena that's home to the One Play Sports C Nations Cup. We've already seen in Group A, all 4 teams share the spoils. Vietnam on top by virtue of goal difference, but they're all locked together on 3 points. I think it's safe to say that Singapore are going to be atop on 6 points. And I say that because that's a bit presumptuous. They've still got to play the Philippines again. But on what you've just witnessed, Nitin, it's inconceivable they don't now beat the Philippines. Although, again, if you're taking the analogy of the real Singapore football team, you take nothing for granted.
That's true. But we're not talking about the real Singapore team. We're talking about the virtual team here. And they were fantastic in that first leg. 7-0 victory. I don't see a way back for Philippines in this tie. But they definitely will have their chances against Indonesia, Myanmar, and Indonesia and Myanmar. So plenty of things to work on for the Philippine side. I do feel bad for them. I do believe they are a new and inexperienced side as they showcase with their high line and quite naive defending. And
to be fair, and give Philippines some credit, obviously they're having a bad night tonight. They haven't had the advantage as Singapore has had of a lot of Singapore teams playing in the One Play Pro Club Challenge. They've got a lot of exposure. This is the first time we've welcomed the Philippines into our esports programming. So listen, it's inevitable they're only going to improve for the experience. They look to have some connectivity issues in that second half as well, with lots of players dropping off. They finished, I think, with 4 or 5 bots. And I'm being told those connection issues are a problem because there's going to be a slight delay to the start of the second game, knitting down to connection problems. And that's no surprise. I don't think it's obviously going to have affected the result in Singapore winning, but it's certainly not helped the Philippines that maybe they've not got the best Wi-Fi or 3G there.
With regards to the connection problems, I think everyone in the world is facing internet issues, but they could use this extra time to perhaps tweak their formation, try and get some new players on board, maybe the substitutes who are ready to go and want to prove themselves. Those guys could be given an opportunity in the second leg to shine.
Nick Paul says 8-0, but if it was real life in a football match, it'd be the opposite. I don't know it'd be 8-0, but the Philippines national team, with OJ Porteria in there, they are massively improved in the real football arena, the Philippines national team. Massively.
Yeah, definitely. Over the last 10 years, maybe over the last 5 years, I'd say that their football team have been doing better than the Singapore team. But we have our new up-and-coming stars as well, and I believe in the national team. Hopefully they can do us proud on the pitch soon.
Victor, sharp the LSFC for us, please, will you? Because lots of you are with us on Facebook tonight, which is great to see. Like, share, follow, comment. Every time you put a comment on the Facebook page, I'll try and give you a shout out. Lots of you doing that. Yeah. Irfan Fernandez is like one of several people that want us to talk about Derek Lim. Now, we talk about Derek Lim a lot because he's such a top-class goalkeeper, but very difficult to talk about him in the game like that because I think he had one save to make, didn't he, when he fell at the feet of a player. Other than that, Derek, with very little to do.
Yeah, we've seen Derek Lim in the One Play Pro Club Challenge. He's been tested more than a few times and he stood up to those tests. Today, unfortunately, there hasn't been much to talk about Derek. Besides that one save, he's been pretty comfortable at the back, as have the whole Singapore team.
I mean, you Singaporeans make me laugh. There's a conspiracy theory floating around here on the comments page that the reason Singapore are playing so well is due to excitement about a certain fast food chain reopening
McDonald's.
Tomorrow. I said a certain fast food chain. The idea was we didn't mention them.
I'm excited. I'm so excited.
But they've not paid us. They don't pay us. If you pay them, you mention them. That's why I said a certain fast food chain.
But they're paying me.
Are they? Oh. What in Big Macs?
Exactly. Look at me.
So I'll start again. A certain fast food chain, who hopefully will watch this and then start paying us, are reopening tomorrow, and that's the motivation for Singapore. The simple things keep Singaporeans happy, don't they?
Yeah, we love our
fast
nuggets.
Food.
We love our McSpicies.
Okay,
McDonald's, especially the breakfast. I think we all miss the breakfast.
Stop promoting
I'm
McDonald's.
Hungry, bro.
Bro, you can't be...
Sorry.
You know, you've got to level it out. Mention another fast food chain.
Okay.
What other fast food chain do you like? And in the interest of fairness, there are several fast food chains available for your consumption, including McDonald's, Burger King, Carl's Jr., Long John Silver. Any others?
No, only McDonald's paying me. So
Stop! They're not paying you. If they were, I know you're new to this showbiz game, but I've really got to give you.
Sponsorships. They've been calling me. Everyone's been calling me, asking me, "Hey, I need you to promote this and promote that." So I got you guys. Don't worry.
Other fast food restaurants are available, folks. Where are we at, Youssef? How are we looking to go to the Panad Stadium? Are we still suffering connection problems? Another 60 seconds, I'm being told. A reminder, we'll be back on Wednesday with Indonesia against Myanmar. Indonesia against Myanmar is the next game up in Group B. And I think both those teams will be very wary of what they're seeing from Singapore tonight. Myanmar, though, what do you expect from them? I mean, we don't know much about them. We didn't know much about Brunei, and they delivered the goods against Vietnam. Are you expecting Myanmar to be better than the Philippines when we see them against Indonesia?
I'm expecting Myanmar to be around the same standard as the Philippines. And I hope after today's first leg showing, Myanmar realize that they can't just go and attack these teams. These teams are experienced, so they've got to take their time, learn the game, and hopefully get some wins.
Well, we shall find out on Wednesday. Join us for that one. Also, a One Play Pro Club Challenge Round of 16 clash is actually the next game coming your way. We'll bring you that on Tuesday. And that's ones to watch as Singapore against the Royal Cavaliers of Vietnam. Now, we've had 17 match nights in the One Play Pro Club Challenge. This is our third match night in the One Play Sports C Nations Cup. And we have got our second round of 16 fixture. But the team that started it all for us back on match day 1 on the 2nd of April was the Royal Cavaliers of Vietnam, who beat the Rumour Pro Club of Thailand by 3-1. Can they get the better of ones to watch of Singapore, who came through in that incredible 6-3 aggregate win against Manok Gasak of Malaysia after a 3-all first leg game? That I'm really looking forward to on Tuesday, Nitin.
Yeah, to be fair, every round of 16 Thai is going to throw us up some really good, exciting football. And that will be no different. Royal Cavaliers versus ones to watch. The Cavaliers, I believe, in their first game, they suffered a bit of lag. And despite the lag, they managed to qualify. So these guys are really good. And Manok Gasak fell the wrath of the ones to watch team. So we'll see what happens.
Can you promise me one thing? I know your tummy is rumbling, but we're going to go to the Panad Stadium in the Philippines at the moment. You're not allowed to mention a certain fast food chain anymore, okay?
Why?
Because we're in show business, buddy. Unless they give you some money, don't mention them. Don't mention them.
I'm getting paid. What's so hard to understand?
Right, are we ready to go to the Panad Stadium? The Philippines is the venue for the Philippines against Singapore. This delay, I got a horrible feeling that we're going to get a few of these Filipinos cutting off again, and we might be having a game with lots of bots. Can we get there to the Panad Stadium? Yourself, our tournament director from our friends at Virtual Pro Gaming. Where are we? They're still searching. This doesn't bode well, and I mean, we had an interview this evening at 10 p.m. with OJ Porteria, and he couldn't even hang on Zoom. The connection was so bad. I mean, he managed to pre-record the national anthem, which he did brilliantly, and it doesn't help, does it? I mean, if you're Singapore and you're playing bots, certainly in that second half there were 5 bots, it does make it easier, correct?
Yes, it does make it easier, definitely, because the players won't have been used to playing with bots most of the time. They'll be used to playing with 11 players, but it's no excuse. You know, bots are part of the game. If you have to deal with these issues, you have to deal with these issues. It's just part of the game.
Okay.
Especially these internet connections. And I know for a fact some Southeast Asian countries have throttling. Governments do throttling, meaning each household only gets a certain amount of internet. So that's what the Filipinos could be facing at this point.
Well, now it's time for us to be responsible. We use this delay to remind you all to listen to what your governments are saying. As Nitin and myself are doing, practice self-distancing. And also, I'll leave you for a minute and come back, because you also have to realise that you need to sanitize. That's quite correct. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, stay safe and make sure you keep those hands nice and clean. News today, unfortunately, if you're watching in Malaysia, that your partial lockdown is extended till the second week in June. We hope you're doing okay. If you're in Malaysia, don't forget you'll be back in action next week when we go back to Group A. And also, other news, Vietnam, it appears to be getting slightly better. We'll look back to join Vietnam in Group A next week as well. Here in Singapore, I think we're set for a decision on June the 1st as to what's going to change. The numbers, unfortunately, certainly amongst the dorms, seem to be quite worrying still, but down to only 3 infections of Singaporeans in PR, so that's a positive. Whatever you're doing, stay safe. Now we can get to the action. Let's go to the Panad Stadium in the Philippines for the second game between the Philippines and Singapore. Remember, Singapore beat them 8-0 just a couple of minutes ago. Can the Philippines make it any better? We're about to find out. So, here we go with the final warm-up screen. There's the Singaporeans. Oh, we're going to come back to studio, I
man.
think. Let's go back. I tell you what, Nitin, let's go and stand up for this
Sure.
bit. Yeah, so obviously connection problems, and this is a concern for the Philippines because, listen, let's be brutal about this.
Yep.
If you're the Philippines, are you dreading coming back online for this second game?
Absolutely. And, I don't want to say this on air, but I do believe some of those players may not have had connection issues. They may have quit
Are
the
you
game
accusing the Filipinos
I'm not
of
accusing.
not cheating,
I'm not accusing.
but bottling it?
I have done stuff like that before where my team isn't just listening to me anymore and I'm like, you know what, screw you guys, I'm out, and I just leave the game. So that's happened before and it'll continue to happen as FIFA progresses, but they won't be looking forward to playing this second leg for sure.
Okay, well, we are going to wait and see what happens. Unfortunately, now the time's ticking around to quarter to midnight Singapore team time. I'm going to get the tournament director to talk to me now. Yusuf, I know you're back there at the tournament control desk. What is your decision here? How long are we going to give the Philippines to get ready for this second game? I'm sure in the tournament directive there'll be rules in terms of forfeiture. Can I just check with you, Yusuf? This is down. The Philippines are responsible for the organisation of this game, their home game. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yusuf? So I'm being told the game is actually going on. Can I speak to Yusuf? Sam, if you step aside and let Yusuf talk to me through the microphone, please. Yusuf, what's the situation is so I can relate to everyone watching at home? What's happening? Yes, Yusuf, talk to me. What's happening? I think there's some suggestion the game may have already started, but we don't have the stream, so we're going to try and disconnect them and get them to start the game again. These things happen, folks, at the mercy of the EA server and internet connections around the ASEAN region, so do bear with us. Reminder, if you are just joining us, you've missed Singapore beating the Philippines by 8-0. And Nitin, again, just to summarise that first game for anyone that didn't miss it, I mean, it was just a one-way traffic the whole way, wasn't it?
It was one-way traffic. I think we only saw the Singaporean keeper one time in the 90 minutes.
Yeah,
so
Derek Lim.
One-way traffic is very fair. 8-0 scoreline. Singapore were just dominant from attack, midfield to defense. They played the perfect game, and it was helped by Philippines' naive defending. They had their defenders up to the midfield line, which is a really bad idea when you have someone of the quality like Shami Aziq playing striker. So plenty of stuff for the Philippines to improve on and learn.
Okay, well, we'll wait and see if they can learn from it in the second leg. I think it's a big ask. Again, I'm trying to get hold of Yusuf. Somebody please tell me, Yusuf, what is the actual issue here, please? It's just the reconnection issues. Again, it seems that multiple reconnections here. This is down to the Philippines, correct? Not the Singapore. Philippines hosting this game.
Yep.
So the connection issues are down to them, you believe?
It should be down to them because the host team searches for the match, and so you're kind of connected to the host server. So that's how it works. And unfortunately, we're having some issues as we've had in the Pro Club Challenge as well. But I don't think it's been this bad. So maybe Philippines might have to look at their internet infrastructure and do a little better.
Well, let me get to the Facebook comments page. Don't forget to LSFC, like, share, follow, comment. I nearly got thrown there. We got Pipo Orr watching us. Filippo Orr, the former SPL manager. Great to see you,
brother.
Pipo, currently, of course, part of an integral part as well of that Singapore national team set up. Ji Zhong Tan says he's searching for Wi-Fi. I think the Philippines are as well. Wong Giao Liang is with us. Great to see. Nick Paul, we've already given him a mention. Ayman Zulkifli. My friend Luigi Limjap plays for a team, wants to travel to Singapore. I tell you what, lots of people are willing to join this Singapore team on this evidence. Fazil Kasim, well done Singapore, chin up to the Philippines. He says, great to see the Singaporeans giving the Filipinos some encouragement. And Maximus VFC, Kemon Hindo Pascal, they're saying there. Daniel Fitri Yap, we've got Charlene Su, Zairuddin Shah, Prasanath Muratharan, Farmi. Great to see so many of you watching and lots of you as well, hopefully hanging on to watch this second game. Latest update, please, Yusuf. I think at some point we're going to have to make a call to pull this game, unfortunately. What's the latest update, please? Okay, listen, we're going to leave you right now. Stay with us. We'll update you in a couple of minutes. But as it stands, connection issues preventing us from bringing you this second game between the Philippines and Singapore. So keep it tuned to the One Play Sports Facebook page, and hopefully we'll be back. We'll certainly be back live to give you an update, hopefully with the second game. But at the time coming up to 10 minutes to midnight, I fear a bad call might have to be made. So stay with us. Keep on the One Play Sports Facebook page. If you follow the One Play Sports, the Facebook page, and like us, you'll get an alert when we next go live, which should be hopefully in the next 5 or 10 minutes. Stay with us right here on One Play Sports.
Coming up on One Play Classic this week.
And welcome back live. I'm being told he's just been out and had a chat with Youssef at the tournament control headquarters. He says they are about to connect, but he has said that to me before. And I think we're giving them until midnight, Nitin. What time is it now, local time here? It's 9 minutes to. So the Philippines have got 9 minutes to get their connection sorted out. And your heart does go out to them. But again, you can't help but be a bit cynical off the back of that first game.
Well,
We're back live.
Nice.
Great stuff. Ask and you shall receive. We're going to get live FIFA action here. It's the return clash in Group B between the Philippines and Singapore. Singapore in the red playing from right to left, the Philippines in the white playing from left to right. And the first things first, I can spot at least 3 bots playing for the Philippines knitting, which would play into that connection problem issue that they've been dealing with.
Yeah, either connection problems or, there could be some unrest in the
Do you
team.
think some of them didn't fancy it?
I think so. Losing 8-0 online when being broadcasted to the world, it's not a fun feeling. So
I think Gary O'Neill was one of the bots playing for them. Here's a player that I don't think we saw, Kenino, in the first game. So clearly something's good on. Singapore with their first foray inside the first 5 minutes. Here's Royal Guard. Oh, look at the skills there. Finds Shamir. Is he going to get another one here? Shamir unselfishly tries to square it, and the Philippines managed to get it clear. Some personnel changes for Singapore, and they did have Zanio, Romney, Kingro and Al Zachary ready to come in for the second game, Nitin. It looks like they have rotated their squad as you'd expect them to.
yeah, some of the players may have been finger fatigue after that first game, but Shame is onside. Oh no!
Oh, to the left-hand side.
Royal
That was not
Guard.
to get illusion, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Royal Guard to Ding. Oh, Shamir,
Shamir,
brilliant steal.
it's a goal.
Selfish, not
play.
a thought of it. Gets it to hit it, and Singapore lead again. New game, same old story. The Philippines torn apart, and Shabir is involved in another goal.
And again, they are the constructors of their own downfall, this Filipino side. Losing the ball cheaply to Shame Aziq, who got 4 goals and 3 assists in that first game, is as though they haven't learned their lesson. Shame with the perfect cross to Hidop, and it's a well-deserved 1-0 lead to Singapore here in the opening 10 minutes.
Here's Nazarul. Singapore, now they've got the first goal, they can relax. Here's Din. Oh, look at that, off the post. Did the keeper get a touch? Not so sure, didn't it? It's gone for a goal kick. Should have been 2, Nitin.
Should have been 2 in 12 minutes, and I don't understand. I think the Filipinos haven't learned their lesson after that first game.
I mean, to be
which
fair,
is surprising.
To be fair, they appear so mismatched, Nitin, here. It's almost demoralising for them as Lucas gets a touch. They just can't get anything going offensively. They're constantly on the back foot.
Yeah, that's credit to the Singapore team as well, who haven't let their finger off the pressure button, and we've seen the Filipinos crack quite a few times.
Oh, is this going to be number 2, Shamir? Well, he was blocked that time, and Canino manages to get it away. Here's another bot playing for them. Lucas gets a touch. I mean, if you're the Philippines now, you're just trying to keep this respectable, and even trying to keep it respectable is proving difficult to do. Shamir's all over them again. Here's Din into Shamir for 2. Good goalkeeping, P. Young. The bot at the feet stops Singapore getting a second.
Again, you see, they're just giving the ball away constantly from the back. Come on, Philippines. I know you guys have to be better than this.
Royal Guard cleared away. Well, it's just a repeat of the first game, although Singapore at this point not being as prolific in front of goal as they were in the first half of the first game, Knitted.
Yeah, the Singaporeans trying to do a bit more fancy stuff. I think they've gained lots of confidence from the 8-0 win, as you'd expect, and they're just trying to do a bit more than they should at this point.
Lucas, Vanderberg, here's Christian. Oh, that's better from Christian. But too many Singaporeans swarming all over him, and they get it away again. I mean, I suppose, if only by scoreline, as the Filipinos get a yellow card just to make matters worse. If only by scoreline, it's been slightly better from the Philippines. They're being a bit more competitive, Nitin, aren't they? Lucas, who I don't think was in the first games, having a positive impact.
Yeah, they seem to be better going forward, but the distribution from the back has been criminal, and they've really got to sort that out.
And this is where Singapore have just been so good. Cutting through them like a knife through butter.
Oh, what a
Din
ball.
with a square ball. And
It's
Shamir
off. He's
with
off.
another, but he's offside.
But
Well,
great build-up play, the through ball, the run, and Shame just getting his timing of the run slightly off there, but if he does that enough, he'll find the back of the net without the flag being raised.
That seems
plenty of
to be one of the great signatures of these good pro club teams, when they can counter-attack, go coast to coast in less than 5 seconds, and Singapore did it there, just the offside flag saving the Philippines.
Yep, the counter-attack, not just in FIFA, in real life, it's a really useful weapon to have for any team, and the Singaporeans are showing here how you do that against a weaker opponent.
Great to see that the Philippines still have their supporters on the Facebook comments page. Here's Shamir to Royal Guard. Well, they're keeping this respectable, at least the Philippines. Let's give them strong credit for that. Here's Christian. I mean, is there any chance of them getting a goal anywhere, Nitin?
Not today, I think, but they've got time between this game and the next game for them to make plenty of adjustments and improvements, so I hope they do that.
They'll certainly have to, won't they? I'll tell you when their next game is in just a moment after this current bit of danger is cleared. The Philippines next in action on Wednesday the 20th when they take on Myanmar, and that on paper is the game you'd fancy they should really try and win. That's going to be the battle of the two unseeded teams in this group.
Yep, after what's looking like 2 losses today, they'll be looking at that game to try and get 6 points and get back into the qualification process in Group B.
And it'll be interesting to see your thoughts on Myanmar and the potential matchup there after we see Myanmar in action on Wednesday up against Indonesia in the other Group B game. But the Indonesians, the other seeded team in this group, I'm sure on the evidence of this won't be fancying Singapore much. But with the changes, they don't seem to be quite as effective in this second game, Singapore. It's certainly a bit tighter.
I do believe that 8-0 scoreline has a little bit of a complacency has crept into the Singapore game, and they don't look as hungry as they were in that first leg.
That's blocked by the maestro, Aziq. Vandenberg. Can the Philippines at least create something of a semblance of a good opportunity? Al Sacra, great defending. And look at the space they got to operate here with the Hoop man. Hoop, look at the space they're giving him. No Filipino wants to get near him. He could go all the way here. Decides to bring in Shamir. Shamir gets it back to Hoop. This will be some goal from Hoop if he can score it. But Aziq gets the way in and Vandenberg manages to get it clear. I don't see OJ Porteria on the pitch for this second game. I think he's had enough knitted.
Either that or, we saw him drop out in the Zoom call, so he could be facing internet issues. So.
Here's Din again. Shamir's onside. Shamir off the crossbar. Third time Singapore at the crossbar. But Din makes no mistake. They've got it again. It's 2-0 before half-time. And that's the second 3-point haul confirmed, you feel, for Singapore. Just after Shamir hit the crossbar one more time, Din picked up the pieces.
Yep, Shamir really unlucky there. Great shot. I think the ball did superbly to tip it onto the post. But Din was there to follow up on the rebound. A good calm finish, got it on the chest. Right foot shot into the bottom corner. 2-0 to Singapore, well deserved. And but I have to say the Philippines have improved slightly in this game. If you remember, in that first leg, it was 5-0 at halftime, and a 2-0 scoreline is a lot more respectable.
So Din, of course, he'll be lining up for ones to watch in the game in the Pro Club Challenge on Tuesday, so it's great to see him in some form. The Royal Cavaliers will be taking note of him in goal-scoring form. I don't think the Royal Cavaliers will be as easy to breach as the Philippines have been, though, knitted.
Yep, and I think Shamir also is going to probably get some calls from Pro Club teams. They'll want him in his team for not just internationals, but for the local VPG tournaments as well.
Here's Lucas. Here's one of the bots, Gary O'Neill, the former Portsmouth player, I think that is, playing as a bot.
He was a decent player, though.
Yeah, he was, wasn't he? A good midfielder, scored some good goals. Yeah. I think he scored one spectacular, if memory serves. Loftus Road, that's doubling up, as well as the Sports Hub for the Panad Stadium. And at half-time, doom and gloom looks on the faces of the Philippines, and no wonder they trail again by 2-0 with the Hido Pascal and Din scores, giving Singapore a half-time lead that they're clearly not going to relinquish on the evidence of what we've seen in the first 135 minutes of action between these two teams. For once, the possession stats probably about fair there, because the Philippines enjoyed a bit more possession, still no shots on goal. 3 on target from Singapore, they scored 2 of them.
Yeah, that 0 shots we see on the Philippines column is not good, and these guys need to definitely use these 2 games to learn how to play pro clubs properly, and also maybe look back at the Malaysia-Thailand game and look at how both teams set up their defenses and try not to concede as many goals as they have today.
So we stand by to go back to the Panad Stadium in the Philippines for the second half, and again, a bit like the second half in the first game, it's going to be damage limitation, the name of the day for the Filipinos. We're back underway with Singapore in the red shirts playing from left to right, the Philippines in the white playing from right to left, and the maestro Aziq in what's been not as convincing a performance from Singapore. But how difficult, knitted, in this situation is it when you know you've got the beating of a team? How difficult is it to motivate yourself?
It's not difficult to motivate yourself, but I think these guys also, they know they don't want to...
They can win the game at any time.
Exactly, and they don't want to totally humiliate the opponents as well, perhaps, because an 8-0 result it batters your ego, let's be honest, and Singapore's playing a bit more relaxed in the second leg.
They're in again here, the Singaporeans. Flag stays down! Oh. Well, Shamir Aziq, the bot keeper, saved the day. I think it came back off Shamir for a goal kick.
Yeah, I think it would have been a better serve for the Filipinos had they had a bot in goal in the first leg. They may have considered less, considering 2 of those goals were from goalkeeping errors.
Benjamin is with us. Wong Wei Xiong is with us. Nitin, what's the worst defeat you've been on the end of in pro club football?
In pro club football, probably 5 or 6-0. It's happened, yeah. We normally don't have enough players for those games, though, to be fair.
So there was mitigating circumstances.
Usually.
Here's Reyes. This is the chance for the Philippines. But straight into King Raw, who gets it away for Singapore, and there's still 35 virtual minutes to go here, plus what the referee adds on for stoppages. And of course, the other thing Singapore need to be wary of, what will Indonesia and maybe even Myanmar do to the Philippines? Goal difference could come into play here, and you want to be finishing top of the group to get the better draw in the semi-final. So they don't want to take their foot off the gas too much. Here's Shamir. He's been absolutely sensational. Here's Hoop, gets the shot away, always going high, wide, and not so handsome.
Now, touching back on what you said about goal difference and the Indonesians wanting to score as many as they can against Philippines as well, but you got to take note that the Filipinos will learn from this. They will get better, and it won't always be like this for them. They just have to work hard, practice on the game more, and maybe do a little bit more tactical adjustments.
Bearing in mind the short turnaround to their next game against Myanmar, which is on the 20th, do you expect to see a big improvement?
I do. From today, especially after that first leg, that first leg performance was unacceptable, and let's hope to never see a performance like that
Shamir again, great save from the bot keeper. Another corner. Look at that, Shamir. 5 shots in this game. Canino, big fat 0 for the Philippines. Corner comes in to the edge of the area. Royal guard. Here's Maestro. 30 virtual minutes to go.
Yeah, Maestro looks like a tidy little playmaker in midfield for Singapore.
DLX changing goal not required for Singapore. Derek Lim's had hardly anything to do. One of the top keepers in the Pro Club Challenge. Here's Dean. Lovely ball from Dean. Great vision. Hoop with the cross, looking for Shamir, but the bot keeper saves the day for the Philippines. Yeah, not the same intensity from Singapore in this second game, is there? It's still some nice movement, but not as clinical. And I think the bot keeper's helping the Philippines, to be honest.
Yeah, the bot keeper's helping, and they've also got much better defensive shape. And as I say that,
just as I say that,
the defense just tears open. And
that was right through the middle. When you're conceding goals like that, you're going to be in trouble, aren't you? You've just not got what it takes at this level. Hoop with another, and Singapore have got 3. Some of these celebrations from Singapore are a bit over the top, to be fair.
Nah, man, you know, you play games to enjoy, and when you score a goal, you're allowed to enjoy a goal. So I don't see anything wrong with that.
Well, is it a bit disrespectful? It's a bit like showboating, isn't it?
Not really. We encourage teams to celebrate and to show the highlights. So no, let's not be too harsh on them.
Well, maybe a lack of class. Maybe I'm just being a bit too prim and proper, showing my old age like an old age fogey there. Singapore 3-0 up, having won the first game 8-0. It's going to be 11 goals to 0 on the night, and there's still plenty of time for Singapore to get another one if they fancy. All that's missing after Shamir's. What did Shamir get in the first game? 4, 5?
4 goals, 3 assists.
4 goals, 3 assists.
So by his standards, he's having a really bad game, and he should be taken off.
He's not scored in this game, has he?
He has not. He hit the post, though.
Yeah, hit the cross. They don't count, do they? But it still means he's gone close. I'm sure he'd like to get another one here, because there's a prize for the Golden Boot in this tournament as well, remember? And Shamir will, without any question, be leading the way, and that's certainly after the first, what have we had so far? 6 games, including this one of the competition. The 2 games we saw between Vietnam and Brunei were quite low scoring. Similar Malaysia and Thailand, 2 1-0 victories, 1 apiece. Here's Lucas. It'd be great to see the Philippines get on the score sheet here if they can at least force Derek Lim to make something resembling a save. Nice play from Lucas. Credit where it's due. The cross is a good one. Headers in! And Derek Lim, well, he didn't have to save that. What on earth happened there, Nitin? I thought he had made a save.
I don't think he made a save, and I think actually the bot got the header in. Either that or the bot's name is Reyes. But unlucky from the Philippines there. Nice
Shamir, is this the goal for him in this game? He plays it to Hoop again. Shamir doesn't seem to want to score in this one.
No, in that first leg, you could see the Singaporean team were making all the right choices when it came to the final passes in the final third. And in this game, they've been a lot more complacent, and I hope not to see a lot of complacency from them moving forward in the tournament. They had a really good mentality in that first game, kept going for goals, and we haven't seen that as much in the second leg.
Maestro Ozil, Zandi Canino, who was figured to be one of the Philippines' best players. He's actually got a good attacking move going here. Here's Christian. Oh, nice play, Christian.
Oh, they've got a
goal. Is this the Philippines goal?
Yes!
Well, great to see the Philippines score. Singapore will be disappointed. They're angry in defence there. But the Philippines are going to end the night on a bright spot. Singapore a little bit lazy in defence, and Christian Vandenberg at least gives the scoreline a semblance of respectability, Nitin.
Yeah, not a little bit lazy. They were very lazy at the back there, Singapore. I think the left and right back had bombed forward, and the Filipinos
Shamir
managed to get a goal. And that will give them a lot of confidence going into the other games in Group B.
Was that Singapore switching off at the back though?
Definitely. They wouldn't concede a goal like that if they had played the way they played in the first leg. So
Here's Din.
they've got to work on that championship mentality and just keep going for goals. Because goal difference could play a big part.
Credit where it's due to the Philippines. They were shell-shocked after the 8-0 drubbing at the Sports Hub, but they come back into this, and at least this scoreline is going to be respectable. And who knows? This scoreline still may come back to haunt Singapore in terms of goal difference. Clearly, the games against Indonesia are going to be key for them. The Singapore-Indonesia clash is scheduled for Wednesday the 27th, incidentally, our first game back from our Harry Raya break in the One Play Sports C Nations Cup. Here's Rome Sharon. Oh, he's giving it straight to Lucas here. They couldn't get another one, could they? That would really make the scoreline tight. Lucas, given some space. Lucas, they don't want to go near him, do they? Cross comes in, Rome Sharon heads it away, and Maestro Ozil completes the clearance. But credit to the Philippines, they're finishing strong. Here's Van der Berg.
Yeah, they're finishing strong, and throughout this entire game, they've had a rather decent defensive
They got numbers short of the back here. Singaporeans could be in. Shamir,
oh my God!
Goal. Is it offside? It was offside. Oh,
No, I think he missed. I think
did he miss that? Did he hit the backboard and then hit the back of the net? How on earth he missed that? My oh my.
Shami, come on, bro.
Canino. This is going to be the last play of the game. Christian, the Philippines aren't going to score from this. And that will be that for a game which ultimately was much closer than the first clash. But Singapore will take the maximum points from their 2 games at 6 points. And the Philippines have got a lot of work to do ahead of their next matches. A reminder that the next game for the Philippines is Myanmar on the 20th. Singapore next in action against Indonesia on the 27th in a game or set of games that could well decide the group. That was impressive stuff from the Singaporeans, particularly in the first game. Second game, Nitin, as we touched on, maybe difficult for them to get motivated.
I don't think motivation is the problem. I think it was more of a case of they weren't as serious as they were in the first leg.
Well, that's the same thing, isn't it? It's motivation. It's like determination to go out there. They clearly were making a statement in that first game. When you know you've got the beating of your opponents in the second game, it makes it harder, doesn't it, to psych yourself up. It must have happened to you when you know you can beat a team whenever you want to try and really push all the time. You almost take your eye off the ball.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened there with the Singaporean team. This is Shami Aziq's first chance, I believe. Just wide off the... Oh, he hit the post, actually.
Nick Paul, by the way, asked how on earth did Shamir miss that last chance? I thought it had got in and the flag had got up, but it must have hit the backboard and then come back and hit the back netting, that Shamir chance right at the end.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a goal. Again, this happened again while I was saying, just praising the Filipinos defense, and they got torn to shreds again. But Shamir really should have scored in this game. He'd be disappointed not to add to his goal tally of 4 in the tournament. But Singapore got 6 points, so all the players did their job in the end.
They certainly did, and great to see so many of you on the Facebook page. LSFC, like, share, follow, comment. The Derek Lim fan club out in force, but Derek will be disappointed he didn't keep a clean sheet because there's a prize for the Golden Gloves, which is judged on how many goals you concede, and he's obviously conceded one tonight in the end.
Yeah, he's been, no, I won't say he was unlucky in conceding that goal. The Filipinos persevered throughout the match, and they deserve 1 goal for their efforts over the 2 legs, but Derek didn't have much to do in this game, and it's sometimes a bit hard to keep concentration when that happens.
If you're the Indonesians watching Singapore tonight, you're going to pick up, I mean, you can obviously do scouting on Pro Club, right? The Indonesians will be watching this tonight.
Definitely.
They'll obviously take a big note of Shamir because we haven't seen Shamir in the One Play Pro Club Challenge. He's a real talent, right? It's no fluke about what he's done tonight.
Yeah, he was awesome in that first leg. In the second leg, not so much. He was good, but in that first leg, he was really outstanding. And the Indonesians will have to keep note of his, not just his goal-scoring ability, but the link-up play.
That was the goal from Christian, and this is the miss from Shamir. Are we going to see this? What happened here?
Yes. First time finish, outside of the right foot.
Well, it brushed past the post, then hit the backboard, then hit the back of the net. That's what I thought it got. It's that optical illusion. And it's great. This is how realistic free is. We've seen this before when you see balls coming on, just like when you watch a real game of, you know, that famous thing when you're in a certain part of the stadium and you think the goal's been scored and all the crowd cheering, it's hit the side netting.
Exactly.
Happens all the time.
It's happened to me all the time, actually, to be honest.
Listen, many thanks for joining us and staying with us late tonight after that very late finish. Apologies for that delay in going back to the Philippines. Don't forget to like, share, follow, comment. Don't forget as well that your country needs you. If you want to sing your national anthem, record yourself singing one of the national anthems of our 8 competing nations and send it to studio@oneplaysports.com or the WhatsApp number that will come up on your screen. You can go back and see it a little bit later on. The group table we can go to now to check out what we already know, that Singapore will be top with 6 points and a goal difference of +10. Maybe the goal difference could have been that little bit higher. Indonesia and Myanmar will play each other next up. That game is coming for you on Wednesday. Next up for the Philippines is Myanmar. Next up for Singapore is Indonesia. We have got some fantastic action coming away. We've got the day off tomorrow, the night off, the only night of by the way of the week, Monday, where we don't bring you One Play Pro Club action, but we're back on Tuesday with the round of 16 clash in the One Play Pro Club Challenge. That sees ones to watch of Singapore up against the Royal Cavaliers of Vietnam in what's going to be a real good game. We saw Din, didn't we, in good goal scoring form there. He'll be lining up for ones to watch on Tuesday. Nitin, what's your prediction there?
Wow. You know what? I'll go with ones to watch. I think they'll squeeze through maybe 4-3 or 3-2 overall on aggregate. I expect this to be very close.
Yeah, and of course, we had that high-scoring game, 9 goals between ones to watch and Manuk Gasak. They are good going forward, but they are leaky at the back.
Yes.
And the next game up for you in the One Play Sports C Nations Cup is the other 2 teams in Group B facing off. That is Indonesia and Myanmar. That's next Wednesday. All the games at the same time, 11 p.m. Singapore time, GMT +8. The return leg we're anticipating for 11:30 p.m. That's what we estimate it at. It was certainly a bit later than that tonight for the return game between the Philippines and Singapore. That just about does it for us here. Don't forget, Monday to Friday, keep it tuned to One Play Sports for all the great programming we're producing with our friends at Sports Singapore. As always, thanks and shout out to our good friends at Virtual Pro Gaming, VPG, and our tournament director, Youssef, who did a great job to get that second game up and running eventually. And all that remains is for me and Nitin to stay safe, and we'll be looking forward to rejoining you on Tuesday night. And keep checking back to the Facebook page for all the highlights and best action of the week.